Hi guys, thanks so much for joining us on this live today. I'm here to talk about the clarifications that Sebi has made on multi-cap funds, and that's the big story. And we've been getting a lot of queries, so I'm just going to wait for our guest to join in. Mohit Gang of Moneyfront will be with us in a bit. So now a lot has happened, and just before Mohit joins in, I just need to, kind of just brief you guys on what we're going to talk about. So earlier what took place is that SEBI announced changes to multi-cap funds and said that all funds have to have minimum 25% each in large, mid and small cap stocks. So this was the earlier announcement. Then there was this whole frenzy in the mutual fund industry, and then SEBI issued some clarifications saying that it's not necessary that mutual funds have to buy small and mid cap stocks. They have many options to meet the criteria of the circular based on the preference of unit holders.
So Mohit is with us. Hi Mohit, how are you?
I'm good. Hi Sonia, how are you doing?
Good. I'm doing great. Good to see you on here. And thanks for this last minute, Insta live that we're doing.
Absolutely fine. We are all at home, as in I am at home, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, great. So, the reason I wanted to do this with you is because we're getting a lot of queries on what one should be doing with their funds, and are there any, is there anything to worry about if I'm sort of invested in a multi-cap fund? Is there any exit load? So first, before we take up some of the questions, Mohit, if you can just simplify for us what exactly are the changes that SEBI has made, and I as a fund holder, do I need to worry? Do I need to make any changes?
Okay, so quickly summarizing what SEBI has done, I think on 11th of September, SEBI came out with a new regulation defining how the multi-cap schemes will be run henceforth, right? So October of 2017, SEBI came out with a circular which was to classify all the schemes. So which meant that every fund house could have one scheme under the new classification or the new categories which SEBI came out with. 2 days before, SEBI said that for multi-cap funds, now the definition is they need to have minimum 75% in equity. Previously, it was 65%. And that 75% now needs to be allocated minimum 25 in large cap, 25 in mid cap, and 25 in small cap companies. Small cap, as defined by SEBI, is 251st company to 500th company by market cap. Mid cap is 101st to 250th company, and large cap is 1st to 100th company by market cap. That's the definition. So that's what SEBI said. Seemingly innocuous circular, but has created kind of havoc. It's led to whatever rally we are seeing today in mid and small cap segment. So look, what was happening is the multi-cap category in the market is 1.5 lakh crore category, which is the biggest category in equities after the large cap. So large cap is 1.5 lakh, multi-cap is 1.47 lakh crore. But 74% of the allocation today is in large caps. The mid-cap allocation in the overall multi-cap portfolios is as low as around 6%. The small cap allocation is as low as 6%, and the mid-cap allocation is as low as around 8.5 to 9 odd percent, right? So there is a huge gap which these schemes need to fulfill to reach to the SEBI threshold of 25%, which will mean they will have to sell large caps and buy mid and small, and this is what is creating to all the panic.
Confusion, yeah. Okay. So now if I am a multi-cap scheme holder, okay, I'm getting a lot of questions, but before that, just the biggest question that we're getting right now is if I'm a multi-cap scheme holder, should I just wait and watch, or, should I sort of move out? I mean, what is the decision? What is the advice right now at this very moment?
Okay, so it's a tricky one, and there are many permutations and combinations which are getting built over this entire thing. SEBI, in fact, came out with a clarification on this circular on Sunday evening, right? So they were actually kind of baffled with all the hoo-halla on this one over the Twitter and social media, and they came out with a clarification on Sunday evening, which said that schemes are free to do anything to kind of, not to say circumvent this thing, but try and restructure their multi-cap schemes. So they can, one, reclassify the multi-cap schemes into any other category. So they can classify it as a focused category or a large and mid-cap category or a thematic category and kind of avoid this regulation. Second is they can also resort to merging few schemes. So if they already have a scheme under the large and mid cap, they can perhaps merge the multi cap into that segment and run it that way if they wish to run it more on the lines of large cap theme. So these options were thrown open. These options were any which ways getting debated in the industry. So now these two options aside, what will each scheme do and what will each fund house resort to is something which is up to debate and up
Okay,
to
it's
your
up to them. Okay, all right.
yeah.
Now, Mohit, we're getting a lot of queries. So Mayur has written to us, I was looking to make a fresh investment in a multi-cap fund. What's your advice and what should be the time frame for the same? Is this the right time to be investing in a multi-cap fund? And if yes, what should the time frame be?
Mayur, actually right now not the right time to get into multi-caps. To be very honest, I think just go for a focused or a large and mid-cap category, which is also akin to multi-cap, not exactly same, but akin to that. But right now, I would say for next 3-4 months till more clarity emerges, avoid multi-caps.
Okay, avoid multi-cap funds, right? Because we still don't have clarity on what, the fund managers are going to be doing. How are they going to sort of circumvent all these rules? Vishal writes to us, will not the fund manager of multi-cap need to sell his large cap allocation, which might disrupt the fund and increase risk for investors? I think that's a valid point, because if I don't have the risk appetite, that's the reason I've invested in a large cap fund. But now with these new rules, you think the risk is going to go up?
Yes, the risk in the multi-cap category will go up notches high. If you see the multi-cap category in the industry today, it's all run like a large cap. It's like a pseudo large cap only with a very minuscule composition of mid caps, and most of them run a sub 5%, 6% allocation in small cap. So it's almost like a large cap fund. Now, when they have to abide to the new regulations, the risk will go up, the volatility will go up under the multi-cap banner. And the selling part of large caps, yes, that's true, but I think large caps can absorb that kind of liquidity. If most of the schemes resort to mergers and category reclassifications, then perhaps a wholesale selling might not happen. And whatever little will happen, I think large caps can absorb. But I'm not very sure whether small and mid caps can absorb that buying without the prices getting disrupted. So that's in fact a more worrisome part.
Okay, in fact, we're getting a question on the small caps because Progenitor has written to us that should small cap funds be redeemed post a massive run up we've seen earlier this morning, which is the view coming in from a few experienced, advisors. So if you have a small cap fund, is this the time to redeem and move to large caps? I mean, what would your advice be, Mohit?
No, I think that's just the first day when your plant has started bearing fruits, right? So why would you just keep it on the first day itself? And it's like 4% kind of a rally in the small caps today in the morning. And yet no fund house has taken its stance. No one has moved allocations. No one has bought a single rupee worth of small cap stocks. It's more anticipation and more investors buying in the market right now. So I would say just hold on. This is good time to be in in mid and small cap stocks. And enjoy the ride. I'm sure you'll get much more to perhaps take off the table.
Okay, so don't take any hasty decisions and exit any of your funds, either large or mid and small cap funds. Just wait and watch. What about existing investments in multi-cap funds? Do we hold or switch? Vasu has written to us. So if I do have, say, a Kotak multi-cap fund which has done really well so far, what is the advice? I mean, should I stick to it?
Sonia, because you've taken the specific name of the scheme, that's the largest scheme in the market today. It's 30,000 odd crore Kotak standard multi-cap route. And as per my calculation, they will have to buy 7,000 worth of small cap and almost 2,000 crore worth of mid caps to abide with the new regulations. I'm not sure they can afford that kind of buying in the market without the impact cost of buying significantly affecting their purchase price. So I would say, and that is a clarification also came from Nilesh, the CEO of Kotak AMC over the weekend, saying that we will resort to all kinds of mechanisms to keep the stature of the scheme intact, which means they will either reclassify or they will figure out other solution, but they can't do this kind of buying. So my sense is stay put in Kotak standard multi-cap. I think fund house is very clear. They will not go for this kind of a buying and impact the buying prices of these stocks. Perhaps they will reclassify the scheme. Pause your new allocations in the scheme for the time being.
All right. So there's another question coming in from Abhay. Should I wait for an exit from multi-cap funds until a waiver on the exit duty is announced? Now, I have not come across the fact that there could be a waiver on the exit duty. Is that something that you're expecting, Mohit?
Yes, it will absolutely come through, Sonia. What happens is whenever a scheme merges or changes its key objective, a fundamental attribute of a scheme changes, by default, as per SEBI's regulation, the scheme will have to provide an exit option to existing investors without any cost implications. And that window is typically a 1 month window. So whenever the schemes decide to take whatever stance they do, they will have to provide an investors an exit window without exit implications. So I think that will be the best time if at all you want to take a call. Wait for that time.
Okay, all right. So people are asking about large caps. What happens to large caps? I mean, since fund houses are going to be moving to a lot of mid caps and small caps eventually, does that mean that, large caps, the allocation may go down, and will large caps lose flavor? What do I do if I'm only in a large cap fund? Should I exit and move to a mid cap fund? What's your recommendation there?
So look, large cap as a category, as I said, can absorb this kind of selling pressure in the market. And large caps have also run up quite a bit because of the buying interest towards quality stocks in the market, and obviously whatever we've seen on the tech front and few other select segments in the market, right? So large caps, I think, can absorb this kind of a selling. And as I'm selling, as I'm seeing, let's say if the entire 40,000 crore were to get redeemed from large cap and move to mid and small cap, that's the total amount assessment, then perhaps there can be an impact in next 3 to 4 months. But I don't see the entire amount moving. I see a lot of reclassification and a lot of mergers happening, and very little amount actually moving to mid and small caps from large caps. So my thing will be, hold on to your large caps. I think those are the safest bets. Markets are not at easy valuations, honestly. I think these are absurd valuations given where the economy is and given the state of affairs. But the rally is a rally, right? So you can hold on to your large caps and not redeem because of this particular clause.
Okay. Just a few more questions, guys, and then we'll have to wrap up. So Mayur asking us, will that increase the volatility in mid cap or small cap indices? Basically, a lot of people asking us about volatility. Virendra saying, do you think it's safe for funds to exit and enter, as volatility will increase and circuit level will create exit problems for funds? Your thoughts here?
Okay, so as I told you, look, volatility will increase definitely, because you will see a lot of buying. I was just scanning through the top 10 holdings of all these small cap funds in the market. If you see the top 10 holdings also, and I'm talking of the top 10 holdings, I'm not talking of the last 10, 15 holdings, the average volume of the stock out there is roughly around lakh shares a day. Right? And if the new schemes will have to go and deploy, let's say 28,000 crore in small cap, that's the exact number. With a lakh volume on each stock, buying those kind of stocks to the tune of, let's say 100 crore, 500 crore in each portfolio, there'll be a significant cost impact out there, right? So you can't assume that the volatility will be same as previously. The risk factor will increase many folds. The volatility will go much higher, and prices will get disrupted if that is likely to happen. So be safe. And if you enter small caps and mid caps at this time, you can make some quick bucks, but be very certain in terms of how things are shaping up. Perhaps all that looks likely in terms of inflow might not actually materialize. So investors will have to be really cautious on this front.
Okay, Mayur asking us, is it possible to have a one-on-one conversation with you on Insta? Yes, guys, you just have to follow their handle Moneyfront, and you can contact Mohit right there. He'll answer. I mean, it's up to his discretion what he wants to do. But Moneyfront _IN, right? That's your handle, and we'll be putting it up as well. All right. Sarthak asking us, what would be a good mutual fund to enter into at this time? Okay, that also depends on your time horizon, your risk profile. But if you want to give us quickly, 2 or 3 good mutual funds that are recommended now.
I think I'll take Sarthak's question, and there's one more interesting question on Parag Parekh. I will take that one also.
Yes, I was going to ask you that actually. Yeah, go ahead.
That's a very interesting fund. Sarthak, I think any time is good if you have a horizon of 5 to 7 years. Honestly, I think it seems like a standard answer. But yes, if you're looking for long term and if you think the country will grow, there's no which ways you will not make money, right? So it's always a good time. I'm a big proponent of index funds. you can always buy an index fund. Index, I think, is the lowest cost, simplest way of entering markets and playing the markets, and without any headache. You can sleep peacefully anytime. If you really want to play further, go for a focused category of schemes. That's more like multi-caps with only 30 stock portfolio. It's a good category to enter in. You get a play of all three capitalizations, which is large, mid, and small caps, and in a concentrated way. So I like the focused category. You can enter that category with a 3 to 5 year view. So that's for Sarthak.
And on the Parag Parikh fund you were talking about?
Yeah, Sonia. So Parag Parikh is a very unique multi-cap theme. Honestly, I think that's where Sebi came out, right? Sebi wanted the multi-cap themes to be true to label. They want that multi-cap themes should be run like multi-cap. If you see Axis multi-cap, they are 92% large cap, 0 mid, 0 small. You see Parag Parikh multi-cap, they are 35% in international equities, and the remaining 65% in Indian equities is predominantly large cap, right? So most of the schemes were running the way they wanted to run. You can debate and argue that that was fund manager's creativity and his ability to figure out options which were beyond the shores of this country, and that's where he delivered returns, right? But now, given the scenario, Parag Parikh has no option but to change the classification of the scheme from multi-cap, and that's my personal take. I think they will have to change the classification to a thematic international category, or maybe a large and mid-cap, or a focused category. They can't run the scheme with 35% international allocation in the same format. So that 35% international allocation will have to give way to mid and small if they want to continue as a multi-cap scheme. So my take on Parag Parikh is they will reclassify the scheme. That's the easiest option available to them, and the best suited for shareholders.
Okay, a couple of last questions before we end this session. Amit has asked us whether SBI Gold Fund, any idea on this for investment? Any thoughts, Mohit?
So look, I'm not a commodity expert, but gold looks like breaking out on the charts in terms of making all-time highs, and people finding interest, because obviously everyone considers that the risk is not off the global thing, and perhaps dollar weakening also kind of helps gold. So we have seen a lot of interest in RBI sovereign gold bonds, which just ended. That was actually the last tranche which ended for this fiscal year. That's the best option to buy gold. If you really want to buy gold, go for sovereign gold bonds. If you can't apply for that tranche, then go for gold bonds or gold funds in a paper format. The simplest way of buying gold rather than going for the physical gold. So yes, if you are really keen on buying the yellow metal, go for a gold fund, and any gold fund is good. Just see that the volumes are good, liquidity is good enough. You can go for a gold ETF or a gold fund. Both are similar.
All right. A lot of people asking us on the market, so we're going to end with that. Mohit, this is a market that has just left everybody breathless, right? I mean, look at the pace at which this market has rallied, and now we are seeing participation coming from mid-caps as well. Do you think this is the right time to be putting fresh allocation to mutual funds, or do you think that one should wait for a correction? What's your own personal view?
Look, so I think markets have been playing truant with all of us for a fairly long time, right? There were investors at every level wanting to take an exit call, or wanting or thinking that markets are fairly high. You've seen that at 10,500, 11,000, everyone calling it out that it's high, and HNI is keeping their money aside ki correction aane par dalenge, right? So, and that's not happened. A lot of money has been waiting on sidelines, and perhaps people lose more money by waiting rather than in corrections themselves, right? So that's a fact about markets. I would say if you really want to invest, stagger it out for a year and a half. Go for your SIP, STP mechanisms. Don't wait for markets to correct. Markets can remain absurd for a longer time than what you and I can imagine, actually. And look, valuations, yes, are extremely exorbitant. You're trading at 34 times Nifty trailing earnings, and that's not real. And obviously, economy numbers, I think everyone has it at the back of its hand. But it's like the corona corollary. You see, people are getting out now when actually the virus is picking up, and it's really getting, the numbers are increasing by the day. That's the case with markets also. Retail actually participates when the valuations are fairly high and there is frenzy around it. So
that's true. And that's when you really burn your fingers, right? So perhaps you want to wait a little bit before allocating a large sum.
Only go in bits and pieces. Don't put don't test the depth of water with both your feet. Just take bits and chunks and stagger it out, guys. Stagger it out. I think it is an absurd market, but yes, people are making money. So don't be out of it. Don't redeem.
Okay. All right. Don't redeem and don't exit any of your funds now. Just looking at the SEBI recommendations, because there are a lot of things could change, a lot of clarifications could come through, and mutual funds don't necessarily have to shift out of large caps and buy mid caps and small caps today. So no need to take any decision in haste. Yes, the recording of this session will be available. We'll try and upload it on YouTube as well. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. And Mohit, thank you for your last minute approval, to come on our channel. We hope to do this frequently and take up a lot of your questions. You guys have a great trading day and keep watching CNBC TV18 for all the news and action. Bye, Mohit. Have a good day.
Take care. Stay safe.
Take care. Bye.